celebrities who faked their own deaths. Extra, extra! Read all about it. Word on the street is that Jim Morrison is alive and well in Syracuse, New York, while the world still believes he's pushing up daisies. Wild speculation? Maybe. But folks, he wouldn't be the first star to pull a great vanishing act. Grab your fedoras and fasten your suspenders, because today we're diving headfirst into the most notorious cases of celebrities who faked their own demise. Case number 1, Patrick McDermott, the man who set sail and never came back. Picture this. It's the year 2005, and Patrick McDermott, longtime flame of Hollywood's sweetheart Olivia Newton-John, embarks on a little old fishing trip off the coast of California. Sounds swell, right? But here's the kicker. He never returns. Authorities search high and low, his wallet and belongings still aboard, but not a trace of McDermott in sight. A tragic accident? Not so fast, kiddo. Rumors start swirling like a Chicago speakeasy. McDermott didn't kick the bucket, he skipped town. Private investigators later claim he was spotted in sunny Mexico, living the high life under a brand new identity. A clean getaway? Maybe. But one thing's for sure, McDermott played the long con and may have pulled off one of the greatest escapes in Hollywood history. Case number 2, Corey Taylor, the prankster who almost pulled it off. All right, folks, grab yourself a soda pop because this next one is a doozy. Enter Corey Taylor, frontman of the wild and raucous rock outfit Slipknot. Now, Taylor wasn't in any hot water, and he wasn't dodging the law, but he did try one clever little trick. The man faked his own death to get out of paying a phone bill. That's right, ladies and gents. This musician nearly gave the Grim Reaper a handshake just to cut costs. A gutsy move, sure, but the phone company wasn't buying it. If only he'd put as much effort into dodging bills as he does into screaming into a microphone. Case number 3, Ken Kesey, the literary Houdini. Now here's a fella who really knew how to pull the wool over Uncle Sam's eyes. Enter Ken Kesey, the man behind One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. But folks, he wasn't just writing about mental institutions. He was pulling off an escape act of his own. The year 1966, the crime, drug charges, the solution, a phony suicide. Kesey and his gang of merry pranksters staged his fake demise by leaving his car abandoned near a cliff, complete with a goodbye letter. Cue the waterworks, the newspaper headlines, and the grand illusion of Ken Kesey's tragic end. But where was he really? Hiding out in Mexico, living it up while the authorities scratched their heads. Eventually the jig was up, but let's be real. This man was a real-life trickster straight out of a dime store detective novel. Case number 4, The Mysterious Musician, a tune that never ended. All right, folks, hold on to your bowler hats because this last case ain't one for the faint of heart. Somewhere, out there in the wild world of music, lurks a performer who played his last note on stage and then vanished. The public mourned, record sales skyrocketed, and the legend of this musician cemented itself in history. But whispers from the underground suggest that the whole thing was a smoke and mirrors routine, a disappearing act worthy of the great Houdini himself. Who was it? Well, that's the mystery, ain't it? Could be a rock legend, a jazz great, or someone still plucking strings under a brand new name. Either way, this case reminds us that in showbiz, sometimes death is just the beginning. Case number 5, Lord Timothy Dexter, the man who threw his own funeral. Now here's a tale from way back in the day, long before tabloids and talk shows, about a fella named Lord Timothy Dexter. A real character. This guy made a fortune selling stuff nobody wanted, and folks thought he was nuttier than a peanut brittle factory. But get this, he decided to fake his own death just to see how folks would react. He staged a full-blown funeral, watched it from the shadows, and when his wife didn't cry hard enough, he popped out and gave her a scolding in front of everyone. Talk about drama. If the man were around today, he'd be trending on every platform this side of the Atlantic. Case number 6, Andy Kaufman. The ultimate performance? Ladies and gents, now we turn our attention to the one, the only, Andy Kaufman, comedian, performer, and possibly the biggest prankster in showbiz history. Kaufman died in 1984 from cancer, or so they say. But friends, fans, and even fellow comics have long suspected he faked the whole thing as the greatest punchline ever delivered. Andy once told people he was going to stage his death and come back 20 years later, just for laughs. Guess what? Some folks are still waiting. To this day, no one's entirely sure whether he's 6 feet under or just hiding behind the curtain, grinning ear to ear at the biggest long con ever pulled. Bonus mystery: the Jim Morrison conspiracy lives on. Narrator. Before we wrap this up, let's bring it back to the man of the hour. Jim Morrison, poet, rebel, and frontman of The Doors. Official story? He passed away in Paris, 1971. But the body was never seen by any friends. No autopsy, no photos, just a hasty burial and a whole lot of questions. Now, fresh rumors claim old Jim is alive and well, living like a ghost in New York, watching the world burn through dark sunglasses and a cigarette haze. Truth or tall tale, we may never know. But if anyone could fake their death, it's the Lizard King himself. Closing remarks. The truth is out there. So what's the takeaway, folks? Faking your own demise ain't just for crooks and old-school outlaws, and celebrities have been pulling death hoaxes for years. Whether it's to escape the law, dodge a debt, or just rewrite their own legend, these cases prove that sometimes saying so long doesn't mean you're gone for good. So what do you think? Are there more Hollywood heavyweights and rock and roll ghosts still hiding in plain sight? Let us know in the comments below, slap that subscribe button, and keep your ears to the ground, because you never know who's going to rise from the grave next. Until next time, this has been the Ragtime Reporter, where the news snappy and topics are fresh.